Hello, and welcome to the latest installment of the Aras Innovator Demo Series. Today we're going to talk about product engineering with Effectivity. A quick note about the demo series: it runs for 30 minutes and features all demo with no sales pitch. Typically twice a month, we show you a different capability of the Aras Innovator platform. Once the demo is complete, you can visit our website, www.aras.com/demo-series, to view past demos as well as register for upcoming demos. We have on the line today Ayla Singhal, Product Manager at Aras. Ayla, take it away.
Thank you, Nicole. In this webinar, I will explain how Effectivity can be used in bill of material structures to handle various product configurations and how to create and manage Effectivity variables and scopes relevant to your context. I will demonstrate both what we will be releasing in Aras Innovator 12 major release, as well as usability enhancements we'll provide in 12 Service Pack 1. Let's start with the business problem we aim to solve. Many products come in multiple configurations. Trying to manage each configuration uniquely in a separate structure is not very efficient. The more effective way of managing such product data is to maintain a single structure and identify the differences in the structure through the use of Effectivity. So Effectivity is the condition for including or excluding certain items from a given configuration. On the right-hand side, I have an example of an airplane system and subsystem breakdown. In configuration items such as landing gear or engine, we have multiple solutions. For landing gear, we have two landing gear assemblies, each with applicability based on an Effectivity. For example, landing gear assembly 1 is valid for product model 46 and for units 1 through 10, and landing gear assembly 2 is also valid for product model 46, but only for units 1 through 15. Landing gear assembly 2 is also relevant for model 57. Similarly, we have 3 engines that is available for this airplane, and each are uniquely identified with their effectivities as to when they are valid to be used in a configuration. Here, I'm only demonstrating or showing the different items, but there's a lot of common content in this airplane configuration. In the previous example, product model and unit are our effectivity variables. But if we look at across industries, we see that there are several different commonly used effectivity factors. For example, in low volume and highly complex products such as in shipbuilding and aerospace industries, we see model, unit number, hull number, or serialized number as commonly used effectivity variables. In high volume products, effectivity is typically date or milestone driven. In formula driven products such as in food and beverage or pharmaceutical industries, lot, batch, or plant are commonly used effectivity variables. Let's see what we are providing in the 12 release for effectivity management. All the common effectivity variables, model, unit, and date, are available out of the box. However, as we just discussed, there are many other variables, and you can create your own effectivity variables, such as plant or lot, without any configuration or customization needed. The types of effectivity variables we support are date, integer, list, string, and item type effectivities. For example, if we compare what we provide, date is date-based effectivity, unit is integer-based effectivity, and model is item type effectivity. The list of models we read for effectivity are created via the instances of an item type called model. We allow creating scopes to organize the effectivity variables of interest. For example, one of your product line may be using a set of effectivity variables that are different than effectivity variables applicable to another product line, and you can create different scopes and only use the variables that are relevant for the context. While you don't need to write any customization, you have the ability to customize the scope builder method for any of your specific business needs. For example, the model variable. If you don't want to see the models that are older than 2-year-old, you can write customization to exclude them so that they don't show up in the new effectivities that you're working on going forward. We support both easy and complex effectivity expressions, and the way we support it is through the Boolean operators. We support equals, greater than and equal, less than and equal, combined with and, or, and not operators. Here on the screen I have an example which represents that this is effective for model 46 for units 11 to 15. Also for model 57. We also know that effectivity is managed by certain groups of people. Typically, this is the configuration management team. To support that, we have provided an out-of-the-box identity called effectivity management. This identity can create scopes, can create additional variables, and are responsible for setting up effectivity within the bill of material structures. Administrators are included in the effectivity management identity out of the box. You can just add other group identities or user identities so they are ready to use effectivity management. Everybody else has view-only access to this data. So once the effectivity is set in the structures, the next thing we do is to bring that 150% BOM structure, which is overloaded by multiple items, to bring it to a resolved structure. Here we can look at a structure that is resolved for configuration product model 46 and unit number 14. This is a fully described criteria, so we take the 150% BOM to a particular 100% BOM. We get a landing gear assembly 2 out of the 2 landing gear assembly options. Landing gear assembly 2 is presented because it fits the model and the unit criteria. Out of the 3 engines, we receive only engine 2. Again, meeting the same effectivity criteria with compared to the effectivity conditions set on the BOM structures. Another way of resolving structure is a partial resolution. If you would like to see the same structure for model 46, the use case is you want to see all items going into model 46 irrespective of a unit number. In this case, we provide partial criteria. In here only the model number, and we leave out the unit number, and we get a partially resolved structure. Of the 2 landing gear assemblies, we get both of them because they are both applicable to product model 46. Out of the 3 engines, we receive 2 of them as resolved for this criteria, because engine 1 and 2 are valid for model 46 and engine 3 is excluded from this resolved structure because it is not applicable for model 46. All right, so I'm going to switch to the demo now. First, I will demonstrate what we are releasing in 12 with respect to effectivity management. I'm going to start with the administrative portion, and it will give a context of how things are provided when it comes to setting effectivity in BOM structures. Under administration, we have effectivity services subfolder, and we have the effectivity scope. We provide Aras part BOM effectivity scope out of the box. And it contains the 3 out-of-the-box variables, unit, model, and date. So let's go search for the variables. Okay, they are here. The next thing I'll do is show how easily you can add a variable that is of your interest. So create an effectivity variable. So let's just call this plant. When I pull down the drop-down list, as you see, date, integer, string, list, and item are available. For this one, I'm going to select list. That means that the values for the plant is going to be provided from a list. And because I made the type list selection, now I need to select which list. So I had previously prepared a list of plants, so it's now available to me, and I can now use the effectivity variable if I add it to a particular scope. We looked at the scope here, so I'm going to switch back to it. These are the list. As you see, I have model, unit, and date effectivity. Plant, the one I just created, I'm not including in this list. So whenever I use Aras part BOM scope, it will not be available to me. If it's, of course, as needed, it can be added to the scope. We have this builder method that essentially supports the effectivity variables of the types that I had mentioned. If you want to create some custom logic that I mentioned previously, such as filtering out the list of models that you don't want to see going forward, you can create another builder method taking this one as the basis, and you can build in any customized logic in working with the scopes. Also, I'm going to show here that as far as permissions, all scopes and variables are by out of the box managed by Effectivity Management Identity. If you're in Effectivity Management Identity, you have the access to add, update, delete, and change the permissions. And for the rest of the users, it's read-only access. All right, so this is the administrative setup. So let's take a look at a BOM structure. So I have here the MakerBot Replicator 3D printer as an example. In the BOM structure, I will do an expansion by 3 levels. I grew it by 3 levels deep. Here, not all lines have effectivity because even across multiple product configurations, there are a lot of commonalities. So we only set effectivity where an item is valid for one configuration and not valid for others. For example, here I have on this line nozzle. This particular nozzle part number is valid for replicator model, and the next line item is valid for replicator 2 product model. So as I go through this product structure, you will see in multiple levels we have effectivity that's being set. So I'm going to go down to the bottom. Let me hide the table of contents to get some more space. Okay, so this is our additional parts for the MakerBot. And I can select a row and look at effectivity. It will show me more details about the effectivity that has been set. There may be multiple effectivities set on a single BOM row. Right now in 12.0, this is read only, just to view effectivities. In 12 Service Pack 1, this will be the place where we will be able to both view as well as add, remove, and update effectivities. I will demonstrate that in a few minutes. So let's go and see in 12 how editing works. I'm going to open this part. Additional parts because I want to change effectivity in its structure. So let's take the Flement line and let's see how we are setting effectivity. So we already have a effectivity set that this Flement will be included if the date on the criteria is greater than May 1st of 2019. I can either append to this effectivity or I can create another effectivity that will be processed using an OR logic, meaning if either of these effectivity conditions are met, the item will be included in the result structure. We have guided editing, so I'm going to say, okay, we are going to include Flement for replicator 2 model and for unit numbers greater or equal to 100. So I set my effectivity. I'm going to go back to our MakerBot. Let's do refresh. And as you see now, where it used to be more greater than May 1st, we have another effectivity criteria for a replicator model for units 100 or more. Now the next thing we do is we'll take a look at this structure for a particular configuration. Oh, before I go there, I just also want to point out that there are in this under additional parts 2 other items. They are both available for Replicator 2 model, but for different unit numbers. So when I specify a unit number for Replicator 2, as I am resolving the structure, only one of them will show up. So here I choose what scope I want to resolve the structure with. And let's say I want to resolve it for unit 100 and for model Replicator 2. All levels of the structure is resolved, but I'm going to focus on that additional parts area. As you see here, one of the spool holders is not included because that was for Replicator models unit less than 100. And we also got the filament being resolved. If we set a different one, let's say for unit 99, and let's say we want to resolve it for April 29th, our result structure will show that filament is not included, and we get the other filament spool holder in the result structure. To go back to an unfiltered structure, you hit clear and apply, and we can then see all the complete 150% BOM with all items that are included. I'm going to switch to another Aras instance, and that is our 12 Service Pack 1 build. And I want to show the usability enhancements that we have made. Again, this is the same MakerBot 3D printer. So when it comes to the resolution, it's the same. The change is now is how we, from an administrator perspective, how we set up the effectivity. The user interface has been improved. Instead of going through the part BOM relationship and then effectivity to set the effectivity, we can directly set effectivity within the BOM structure tab at any level. So let's make a similar effectivity update. I take filament. View effectivity will show me the list of effectivities. In 12 release, this is read-only as I mentioned. So let's just create a new effectivity for this BOM line. I'm going to set the same one that I selected before. And unit is greater than 100. From an expression editor, it's the same expression editor. We are using the guided editing. And also I want to call out here that only the effectivity variables within that scope is included. So unit, date, and model. And we don't include any other variables that are in the system but not included in the scope. So right now I have an incomplete expression, so the apply button is not highlighted. So I'm going to go back and remove the last portion so I have a valid expression and the apply button is enabled. Now I can go and add. Similarly, I can go and edit the effectivity view or edit by clicking on a specific effectivity line, or I can simply select one or more effectivities and hit delete. It will ask me to confirm, and the selected effectivities are removed from the structure. The rest of structure resolution through the effectivity criteria remains similar to what I have already demonstrated for the 12 release. That concludes my demo, so I can take some questions now.
Thank you, Isla. Make sure to enter in any questions you have into the Q&A panel. We have a few submitted questions, so let me get into those. Can a resolve structure BOM be output from Aras to an ERP system via XML or Excel?
Sure. Let's go back and do a resolution. So I can show how we can export it. So I'm going to go and resolve this again. By some full or partial criteria, I have a full resolve structure now. I can expand. And this is provided in Service Pack 1. We have the export to Excel. And when we click on it, the resolve structure is exported to an Excel file. Obviously, you can do a completely unfiltered structure and export it too. So either way, so either unfiltered structure with full 150% BOM or for a particular resolved configuration can then be exported out.
Okay. Can the Effectivity drive MBOM creation?
Yes, we are working on that currently to make it a product. We have some customers who have prototyped it and it can be done, but it is not in the MPP application right now. It is planned.
Does using Effectivity remove the need for options and variants?
No, it doesn't. Options and variants are more driven by what your customers tend to choose. For example, when you buy a car, you choose whether it has a sunroof or not sunroof, if it has winter package or not, whether you have like what kind of wheels and tires you want to get. So those are the options that will still be provided. And also those options provide other more engineering options. So this does not reduce the options and variants. They actually coexist. Effectivity is more used to see how to build. For example, how do we build unit number 14? Right? It gives that information, but it doesn't show me which part number should be configured for size medium, color red, etc. So variants and effectivity will coexist. I also want to mention that the variants and options themselves will have effectivity, so it gets quite complex, and that's what we are working on right now.
Okay. Does the resolved BOM have a final item number?
What I have demonstrated is dynamically resolved. We don't have a part number on the 100% BOM, but definitely when you're ready to make an instance of the resolved structure, then actual part numbers can be created. So most of the time the desire is to wait as late as possible to create those 100% BOM instances.
Okay. So I see a few more questions coming in, but we are at time. So I want to thank you for your questions and apologize for the ones that we didn't get to today. As I mentioned at the beginning, we will be reaching out to you directly with those answers. I'm going to leave you with our upcoming demo series topics. On May 16th, we will be covering a look at simulation with Aras Innovator. And then on June 6th, we will be taking a look at Aras Innovator V12 user experience enhancements. Again, you can register for upcoming demos and view any past demos at www.aras.com/demo series. We'd love for you to join the Open Aras PLM community. We have blogs, forums, community projects, and knowledge bases with a lot of good information. Be sure to follow Aras on social. You can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, where we share industry-related news and articles, the latest Aras news, products, assets, and more. Finally, be sure to not miss out on future ACE events. We would love to see you all there, hear your feedback, answer your questions, and give you the opportunity to network with the PLM community, Aras employees, partners, and more. We thank you for joining us today and look forward to having you join us next time. Thank you and have a good day.